How's it going, everybody? It's Dane with RT Sports. I'm joined here today by our 2021 Best Ball champion, Mr. Delaney. Thanks for joining us. How's it going?
Pretty good here. Yourself?
Doing great. We've been chatting some best ball before we started recording here. I know you know your stuff and ready to get some thoughts on your team from last year that took it all down, took home the 50K. And then we'll take a look at some of these scout drafts that you've been in as well for the 2022 season.
For sure.
All righty. So to start, a little primer on the Scout Best Ball Championship. We are doing a early tournament for the 2022 season. So you can join a draft today for the season starting in September. Get ahead of the game. So the contest, I know there's people out there who want to draft 24/7, 365. This is for you. So we have it's $20 entry with a $5,000 grand prize to first. So it's a lot smaller than our main contest. So you're going up against 2,000 other entries, 200 drafts. Hop in, have some fun, show your scouting prowess, taking some of these college players before they're on their NFL teams. A couple small changes to the contest. No kicker or defense in this one. We have an extra flex spot instead. So a little bit of a change to the strategy there, which I'm interested in getting your thoughts on. Didn't ask you about that yet. But, yeah, Scout's a lot of fun. We've been filling drafts. I know there's one going on right now. But, Mr. Delaney, let's first take a look at your 2021 championship team. Give me your thoughts, man.
At first glance, if you were to view this roster before the season started, you would think, in my opinion, you would think there's like no way this team would win. Like look at my defenses. I got the Browns and the Cowboys on there, for example, right? But they ended up going off eventually. The Cowboys did. But my quarterbacks, everyone knows what happened with Murray. He was hurt for a while and didn't perform how everyone expected him to. And then I had to rely on Carr and Jimmy G and ended up doing something.
So it looks like most of your work was getting done here. You had two of the league winners of 2021, Cooper Kupp, Mark Andrews. Those were pretty big keys to the success last year. You hit the nail right on the head with those two.
For sure. And that was actually an early draft I did. I think back in late January is when I drafted this team.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a theory about, doing early drafts and getting some steals, and I was right. I actually got Cooper Kupp round 8, I think, with this team. I look back at it. I drafted him round 8, so that was one heck of a steal because I think later on he started going like round 4, maybe 4 and 5, that area. But that was one heck of a steal that I had, and he ended up working out really well.
Yeah, making that type of call on those we've seen it the past 2 years with the receivers. Not joining a new offense for Cooper Kupp, but he gets the addition of Matt Stafford. In 2020, it was Stephon Diggs going to the Bills. So definitely something to look out for this year. My early thoughts on that would be where Aaron Rodgers is going to play next year. Seen some whispers of the Broncos.
You got to tell everybody, huh?
Maybe a guy like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Just a little thought. First thing that comes to mind.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And as you can see on this roster, I had so many injuries on this team. I had Hopkins that I drafted round 2. He was hurt. I had Bell who didn't do anything. I had Gus Edwards and Sammy Watkins did nothing. Devontae Parker, O.J. Howard. I had like 6 roster spots that was just wasted, and it still won. And that's just amazing, Things just I would say is just God's will for it. Like, man, look, COVID happened,
Yeah.
Players are out for COVID, and some of my backups got more points. And I don't know. It's just stuff was all over the place this season, as everybody knows.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely wrinkle we didn't see coming. Well, maybe we would have seen it coming with the 2021 season. But think back 2 years ago. Not a wrinkle we would have expected in this format. But that's one thing I like about the best ball is you don't have to sit on waivers every week looking for a replacement for your player in health and safety protocols for the week.
For sure.
The system's just going to put your best team together. And I think a strategy with this team that you use to take advantage of that is looking at your running backs, I see Joe Mixon is probably the only running back you selected that was going in the first 5 rounds. You want to give me your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I had a little theory of you just picking up some stud receivers or quarterback or whatever early on, and then figured if I was to win it, it'll be some weird running back come out of nowhere and just perform really well. So I kind of took a chance on some of the running backs. I forget when I got James Conner. I think I got him like round 9 or something like that. I was just taking chances. I think this person might go off potentially, or even if he just had like a 20-point game like 5 times out of the season, I put that as a win. So that's kind of like what I was looking for in that, which is why I also drafted Bill. I figured he probably would go somewhere and end up doing something, but didn't work out.
Yeah, well, you definitely got enough out of guys like Devin Singletary turned it on at the end of the year.
At the very end, and that's what.
Yeah, at the very end, when it counted, he came through.
For sure.
A.J. Dillon was another guy where got that expanded role where he was working alongside Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
The quad father, Quadzilla. If you've seen pictures of A.J. Dillon there, he's got some tree trunks for legs, and he was putting on a show this year.
For sure.
So were you mainly sticking to this strategy, or I assume over the volume you had, you were approaching each draft differently, yeah?
I was all over the place and approaching differently. If I drafted like some stud running backs early on and had like at least 4 that I was really solid with that were going to perform decent every week, I'll probably pick like 8 receivers or something like that to just make up for going early on with stud running backs. So I just switched it up accordingly. And I know some people don't like picking like the same players. I was trying to pick the same players if I found it to hit a lotto on that, right? Like if they perform really well, you have them all over the place with different combinations. But the thing that sucks is if they suck, then you're pretty much screwed. So, I took a chance in that. And Cooper Kupp was one of those I was drafting quite a bit whenever I had the opportunity, I think. And then who was another one? I forget who else. I've always loved Adams. Anytime I see Adams, I was drafting him a lot of times.
I think you were telling me about Rashad Penny earlier, too, was one of your guys.
Penny was one of my guys. Unfortunately, he wasn't on this roster, but he was one of my guys I was drafting early in the late rounds. I was actually expecting him to take over a lot sooner, thinking that, Chris Carson got hurt often. So I was like, Penny this is his last chance to try to show something, right? So I was high on him early on, but then people started to snag him in front of me earlier and earlier. I think he started going like round 13 and 12 and stuff like that. I was like, all right, when I used to get him like round 17. And when that starts to happen, that's when I stop like drafting him. Or if people talk in my ear, I'm like, man, that player's not going to do anything. That starts to kind of sway my opinion, and I stop drafting them, all kinds of things,
Well, hey, it's good to make a stand on those guys. Like if you made a stand on Cooper Kupp, when you're right, you're really right. So
yeah, for sure.
So we have here the overall standings for last year's contest as well. And so we see you right here on top. How's that feel, man?
It just felt unreal. I was like, is this really happening? Honestly, I didn't draft it expecting to get first. I was like, it's cool if it happened, but I don't ever really expect first place. I just like that you guys also have like another little league prize where you can get like $60 in first or $40 in second. And I thought it was like a win situation. I was like, at least I'll get up there in some of them, and maybe I'll hit the top, 150 I think gets paid, or 200. I said maybe I'll hit a couple of teams up there and at least break even, So that was my thought process. Yeah, that was my thought process behind it. So that's why I ended up doing it in the way that I did it, because I was like, I don't think I'm really going to lose in this situation. I think I at least break even. So I just, did quite a bit of drafts, different combinations, and hope for the best.
Yeah. You had one up here and an 11th too, so it didn't look like it was just a stroke of luck with the one team. Looks like you were.
That's actually the team that I thought was going to win. Delaney 48. That's the one that I was like, this is the winner. I don't know if you can pull up the whole team on that one, but we get a little window of your week 17. Yeah.
So you see Rashad Penny with the 32 in the last week. That's a big score.
And then I also on that team, you don't see it, but I had Nick Chubb and I have Joe Mixon? I think I had Chubb and Mixon on that team as well, or something along those lines.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it was.
So what were
really
you? What were you doing on that Monday night? Do you remember?
I think by time Monday night came, before that night, I actually went through a lot of teams to see, all right, who's got players left? Who's got players left? I would go down to the search and see, all right, I looked at the big players that were left to play. I forget who was left to play on Monday night. But anyways, I was looking at those players. I was like, all right, is there any way if this player goes off for like 40 points, can someone pass me? And I saw it was impossible for teams to beat me. And I was actually feeling pretty good already that, wow, I got first place. It actually hit me Sunday night. But
Nice.
It was crazy. I don't know. I told my wife and she was just like, you're kidding me, right? I was like, no, I'm not kidding you. I'm in first place.
Wow. Congratulations, man. That is just too cool.
Appreciate it.
And so you are not resting on your throne after your win last year. You are in the Scout best ball streets.
Oh, yes.
What are your early thoughts on these so far?
I loved doing them, especially before you guys did the rankings. Like I like to take advantage before you guys do the rankings, hoping that I could get some deals on some players, and which is why I actually draft real early. Some people call me stupid for that. Like, man, all kinds of things can happen. You can have injuries, you can have, which they're right, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take because I also know there's a chance of hitting like a jackpot on certain players that you're drafting late, I don't know. People just draft crazy early on. I see a lot of people like to draft like rookies early on. I'm not much of a rookies person, but touche to those people who grabbed like Harris last year in like the 6th round, which they end up getting one heck of a deal. But that's the risk that you take. But
Jamar Chase was definitely a steal last year. So I have the early ADPs up for the Scout. So this is on the free draft guide. It says 2021 right here. We're getting that rolled over, but these are the average draft positions for the Scout Championship. So you were talking about the rookies. I know the top rookie right now is Breece Hall, running back out of Iowa State. Have you touched him yet?
I haven't yet, but I noticed that people are picking him sooner and sooner. Once again, that's the benefit of doing these early drafts. You don't know when he's going to get drafted at first, and he was going super late. And if he ends up hitting, those people are going to be feeling really good. If he doesn't, I ain't missed out on anything. But I know
that Kenneth Walker is one of the early rookies as well, running back out of Michigan State.
I don't know. This year especially, I wasn't that big on any rookies that are coming in to make a big impact in the league this year. So I've kind of stayed away from them. Now, if it was a year like, when you had like Barkley being hyped up and stuff, I probably would have been all over that. But I just didn't hear much of a hype lately. So that's another reason why I haven't been touching many of the rookies. But
we're not hearing as much of the generational talent talks like we had with Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts. So not quite any of those breakouts yet, but then guys last year like Amon-Ra, St. Brown, some of the unheralded guys that you could snag at the end of the draft ended up being fantastic.
Yes. And so I look at these. These are the updated ADPs and stuff, right? So as you can see, like look at the first 11 picks, right? You can see if you look at my one team, the Best Ball Scout 10.
Yes.
You can see I have Eckler, Harris, and Devontae Adams all on that one team.
Oh, man.
Their ADPs are all like the first round now. And I was able to snag them 1, 2, and 3.
So you were able to stack up on your skill position players there. We can talk about them more in a bit. But this is a team where you have Mac Jones, Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, and Baker Mayfield.
I had to go 5.
What's the thought process there?
The thought process was I didn't want to waste all of my skill players. And there was a lot of quarterbacks going early. And I didn't want to take a quarterback over certain skill players. So I just told myself, you know what? I'm just draft like 5 quarterbacks later on and hope that one of them perform at least 20 points every week. Especially because this is a 2 flex, I figure that my skill players are going to make up for that loss I'm going to have from the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So especially with Deshaun Watson, I wanted to take a huge risk. Like, man, if there's a chance that this guy plays this next year, I got one heck of a deal just then from picking him up in like round 16 or 17 or something like that. But I don't know. I just took a chance, and I just hope for the best for at least one of those quarterbacks to put up at least 20 points every week. So that's why I drafted 5. Because if I did just 3, I wouldn't have felt good about it. I'm like, man, there's no way. I wasted this team of skill players because I have no quarterback. So I didn't want that happening, so that's why I went 5.
I like it. Yeah, you're sacrificing a bit of upside at the quarterback position. Yep. But if your horses stay healthy, this team is very strong. I'm telling you right now, from my point of view. You even got Cam Akers too, who was going real early before before his game this weekend, where he fumbled a couple times against Buccaneers. But still,
I got him round 5.
I got him in round 5.
He gets picked up in early round 2 now, right? Or something on the mid round 2, maybe.
Yeah. So for anyone watching, this is the time to do it. So this contest is self-contained. It is closing at the start of the NFL draft. So no one's going to have the advantage of knowing which rookie is going where. Mm-hmm. But this is the time to do it, January 26th. Never too early. Never too early to draft your team and get ahead of the game.
And I was actually so with that draft, some people were right. How the heck did he get all those players? So I had that draft filled actually a day before I actually did the draft. So as you see a lot of the auto picks that happened. There was a lot of auto pick going on because I guess people forgot that a draft was happening. So I was able to take advantage of all those auto picks. There's also a couple other teams in there that are looking pretty good too, that got some steals. But yeah, I'm really confident in my team right here with the deals that I got.
Yeah, so we are constantly updating these rankings now. So we have our fantasy expert Jeff Power on the case. So changing throughout the playoffs, making sure that we have those in line. I know Jamar Chase is shooting up the board now.
Oh, I was so upset. The very first draft that I did, he went around. I was wondering. I saw his ADP was like 40-something. I was like, man, how long can I wait before I have to jump on this guy? Mm-hmm. And I told myself, all right, I'll go round 3. I was going to pick him up in round 3, and he got picked up. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So some people know what they're doing at times. Others probably thinking the same way I am. I wonder how long I can wait before I draft this certain player. And that's the benefit of doing these early ones,
Yep. Definitely doing your homework will give you a big edge right now because there's a lot of unknowns. But since it's such a smaller field as compared to our main contest, you don't have to go as off the wall with your strategy or your rankings to be different from the field. If you're doing your homework and you know who's who, then you've got a pretty good shot, I think.
Yeah, for sure. As you see, I'm all over the place with it, but hopefully one of my quarterbacks end up performing. So we'll see how that goes.
Right on. I like this team. Alrighty, Mr. Delaney, we have a draft going on right now. We've got some open times tomorrow, Friday. We're posting these Best Ball Scout drafts all the time. 10 teams, $20 to enter. Go ahead and check them out. Hop in a draft. You'll find me in there. You might find Mr. Delaney in there.
Oh, yeah. You'll find me.
All righty. Well, thanks for joining me, man. Enjoyed talking football with you. Looking forward to seeing you in the draft streets. And for anyone wanting to join, head on down to rtsports.com. Go to the football tab, select draft times or money leagues. Find a league for you. Find a time that works for you, or you can purchase your own entry beforehand and create a draft time that works for you. Mm-hmm. Mr. Delaney, thanks for coming on. Been great talking to you.
My pleasure.